Hi, in this video, we're going to look at trigonometry from past paper questions. Our first question states, if cos 34 is equal to P, without using a calculator, write down the following in terms of P. Looking at our first question, we got 214. So what we want to do is rewrite 214 with a 34. But we've got to use either reduction formulas, double angles, in terms that we can use our formulas. So we know 214 is sitting in the third quadrant, and our angle formula in the third quadrant is 180 plus theta. So we can write this as 180 plus 34. So bringing the cos there, we have cos of 180 plus 34, and that is in the third quadrant, and we notice that cos is negative, which gives us minus cos 34. And remember, they gave us that cos 34 is P, and there we get our negative P coming out. The next question deals with a 68. So very quickly, 68 can be written as 2 times 34. So we can write down cos 68 is equal to cos of 2 times 34. And using our double angle formula, just remember your double angle formula states that cos 2 theta is equal to, well, we have three options. We're going to use the one that says 2 cos squared theta minus 1. Replacing it here, we get 2 cos squared 34 minus 1. So remember, given cos 34 is P, that'll be 2P squared minus 1. We go to the last question. Which is a little bit more trickier, as they're bringing now a tan. So one of the golden rules of tan, whenever you see tan, you use the formula that tan is equal to sine over cos. Now, we want to write 56 in terms of 34. So we know 56 is equal to 90 minus 34. And remember, when you bring a 90 minus, you got a co-ratio. So we're going to write down as cos 90 minus 34. So that becomes, using the co-ratio, that becomes cos 34. You change the name when you're using a 90 minus to its co-ratio. And cos 56 will become sine 34. So we are using, if you're confused, that's 90 minus 34. And sine of 90 minus 34 is cos 34. Now, we know that cos 34 is P. The problem is we have nothing in terms of sine 34. So we're quickly going to construct a diagram using what is given. Remember, they gave us that cos 34 is equal to P as a fraction P over 1. By definition, we know that cos is x over r. So we quickly put this into a diagram. Remember, the angle is 34. We are in the first quadrant, as 34 is an acute angle. So we know that the x value is P and the r value is 1. So using Pythagoras, we can find y squared, which is equal to 1 squared minus P squared, and then square root that. So there we have it, our r, our x, and our y. So going to sine 34, remember it's the same angle 34, and we know that sine by definition is y over r. And the y value in the diagram is root of 1 minus P squared, and the r value is 1, and anything over 1 will remain. And there we have the first solution. The next paper gives us that sine 40 is equal to p. Very similar to the previous question. We're going to rewrite the first one, which is 220, in terms of p. Now remember, 220 is in your third quadrant, and your angle formula would be 180 plus 40. So we're going to write that as 180 plus 40. And in the third quadrant, sine is negative. As you can see, that gives me a minus sine 40. But they gave us that sine 40 is p, which makes it a negative p. Going to the next question, which says cos squared 50. We're going to write that down. We got cos squared 50. Now remember, 50 can be written as 90 minus 40. So that gives us cos squared 90 minus 40, which is a co-ratio. And that turns out to be sine, change the name to its co-ratio, sine squared theta. In this case, theta is 40. And remember, they told us that sine 40 on the top is p, so that becomes p squared. Okay, we go to the last question. And that is cos of negative 80. Now remember, negative 80, if we're going into the quadrants, we're going backwards, which means negative 80 sitting in quadrant 4, or you can just add 360, and that's 360 minus 80, which is quadrant 4, and in quadrant 4, cos is positive. So this turns out to be cos 80 degrees. Now, we want to write 80 in terms of 40, and that's quite simple because we can write it as a double angle. 2 times 40 is 80. Now remember, they gave us sine. So from the double angle formula, we know that cos to theta, one of the formulas is 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. So in this case, it's going to be 1 minus 2 sine squared theta, and theta now is 40. And remember, sine 40 was given to be p. So it's 1 minus 2 p squared. Thank you.